are so many decisions that people need to make together, be they decisions that are made at home or between business partners or a working group together at the office. So today I want to break down a series of steps that people can go through that will help you to arrive at decisions that are win-win together. First, let me talk about what I mean by a win-win decision. So a win-win decision is a mutually satisfying choice, decision that two people or a group of people arrive at. It is not necessarily the perfect decision for any one person in the group or in the partnership, but it is the best combined decision based on their mutual creativity coming together and partnering on that choice. The first step is actually, it may sound a little silly, but it is to be very clear to name what the topic is that we are talking about right now. So often people go off on tangents and they end up talking about multiple topics and they never get to resolve the topic that they actually came together. You'd be surprised at how easily meetings can become less lengthy and more effective when people are very clear about what is the topic that we're discussing today. So that people don't end up blaming one another for differences in their opinions, which often leads to polarizing and a lack of creativity. What I encourage them to do is have a mindset of putting discussions on the table. So on the table discussions are where two people or a group of people can look at an issue, look at a need all together without attaching it to any one of them, so that they're all working and teaming together, partnering on that decision. The next step number 2, is to really listen for understanding. This is where you get out of your own way and you listen to the other person's thoughts, needs, feelings, desires about a certain topic, a decision that you are discussing. And you put your own thoughts, needs, feelings, and desires aside for a moment so that you actually take turns listening to one another to gain greater understanding about what the mutual needs might be as you move forward in this decision-making funnel. What that does is it can help you gain greater understanding as to why there might be a tug of war around a particular topic, or dissension, or even anger can come up at those times. If there are not those issues, then you would move through this quite quickly because you would be in understanding of one another at that point in time. Very often people do not give this phase of decision-making enough time. There are people, as we all know, who want to rush to a solution, who want to fix things, and who want to move forward. But this phase is really important, and it can take less and less time as you learn to listen carefully to one another. It will give you more flexibility in terms of brainstorming later on or coming up with other options. So it is important that you understand one another's needs around the topic. Once you both feel, or you all feel like you've had enough opportunity to understand one another, then the next phase is to brainstorm options. This is where you look at, okay, we need to make this decision. We have some differences in opinion about how we would approach it on our own if we got to make the decision all by ourselves. But here we are as a a partnership or as a group of people who need to make a decision together. And this is a period where you allow yourselves to actually come up with all kinds of different options. And you simply put them on the table. You don't move forward on them, but you put them all on the table to kind of get the range of what is possible here. I even encourage people sometimes to come up with wild and crazy ideas, just to kind of keep the energy flowing and to not get stuck on any one idea. So understanding when you're moving from one phase of decision making to another is important, that you're not deciding yet. This is a brainstorming options where everybody gets to put their ideas on the table so that you open up the creative approach to whatever the decision is that is needing to be made. The final step to decision making then is, once you've all agreed that you've kind of exhausted the options, that here are all the options on the table, sometimes people take a break, and it may be a break that's a few minutes, it may be a break that's a number of days, to think about what aspects of these options that are on the table could we compile together, and that would make a mutually satisfying win-win solution. So sometimes it is that something has come up, an idea has come up that hadn't been thought of before or entertained before, and people choose that. They say, wow, we hadn't really considered that. And so that feels mutually satisfying to them. However, in my work, I find that a lot of times people in partnerships or small groups, small teams, what happens is that there might be an element from one suggestion and another suggestion and another suggestion that when they're cobbled together, that is what they feel makes for mutual satisfaction and a mutually satisfying decision. So cobbling together portions, pieces of the ideas that are the options that are brainstormed is very often the wonderful choice. And as you become aware of that, you'll see that we probably actually do that quite naturally in life. But this is making it very conscious. Then it's having all of you or both of you say, yes, that is the decision that is mutually satisfying. That is what we are going to decide to do. And you close the loop. You say, yes, that is the decision. That is what we are going to do. That's what we're going to partner on. And then you move into who, what, when, where, why, and how that's going to be carried out so that there's accountability down the road. But this is our win-win, mutually satisfying solution. It's not perfect for any one or the other or any number of people in the group, but it is a mutually satisfying that goes into the decision-making world. So then everyone is on the same page with what decision has been made at that time. As people become good at this clarity around decision making, what I have seen happen is that decisions that initially took a very long time to go through each of these 4 steps can become quite quick. So that people can make decisions within, let's say, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, because they are on the same page about where are we at in this decision-making process. Also, sometimes decisions need to be made rather quickly. So there's a time factor, or there's a date at which something is due. So it's really important to clarify where are we at in the decision-making process in these 4 stages of decision-making, and to identify when we will either get back to it or when the decision needs to be made by. Does it need to be made by this evening? Does it need to be made in 2 weeks? So I like to encourage, wherever possible, that the next phase would be experimenting and exploring, and that you come back together as a partnership or as a team to discuss how things are going. It's the follow-up that you do, and then to reevaluate and refine the decisions that you've made. So you go through the decision-making funnel quite quickly once again, based on the new data, the new information, the new experience that you have. So I hope this information has been helpful to you. I encourage you to experiment and explore and try it out. Reach out to me if we need any help. And here's to partnering for your success.